story that I had referenced on the show yesterday. I was very curious about it. It had to do with an Israeli national who got caught operating some biolabs, illegal biolabs. And the big update to the story was that some charges were dropped, and it sent me back to the Tom Alexandrovich story, right? The Israeli government official who was in Vegas for a cybersecurity conference called Black Hat, and he was caught trying to have sex with a 15-year-old in an FBI sting operation, and our government just sent him back to Israel. Yeah, well, let's get to the details of this story. It's not quite as bad as the Alexandrovich story, but I am curious about why federal charges were dropped against a guy who appeared to be operating illegal biological labs. So let's get to the details. Federal prosecutors have decided to drop charges, including illegal firearms charges against an Israeli national at the center of multiple illegal biological labs here in the United States. Now, luckily, the authorities discovered these biological labs and prevented something absolutely devastating from happening here in the United States. However, these labs were discovered in Nevada and in California. And I want to give you the details of what we know about this story so far. So the Israeli national goes by Ori Solomon, and he was arrested back in January of this year in response to allegations that he had an illegal biolab operated in a residential property that he managed in Las Vegas, Nevada. And while he's still facing felony charges in Clark County for the illegal disposal of hazardous waste, his previous federal gun charges were weirdly dropped. In fact, they were filed against him following a raid of the property in question. Now those illegal gun charges, which were the federal charges, have been dropped. So this raid, by the way, the one in Nevada, resulted in the discovery of several illegal firearms belonging to Solomon, as well as French and Israeli passports. There were also, of course, pathogens and all sorts of really dangerous viruses found at this lab as well. But Solomon is currently in the United States on a non-immigrant visa, which of course prevents him from being able to legally own firearms within our borders. He had the firearms, they found multiple firearms, and that's why he was originally charged with federal illegal gun possession charges, but then it got dropped. So despite his immigration status, Solomon manages over 30 short-term rentals in Las Vegas, in the Las Vegas area. So he's here on a non-immigrant visa, and he's managing over 30 short-term rentals in the Las Vegas area. Fascinating. Okay, the Nevada property in question is owned by a Chinese national who lives under the alias David He. David was also arrested and named in an ongoing investigation into an illegal biolab that was being operated out of a warehouse in Reedley, California. Insane. Authorities discovered the illegal manufacturing of HIV, COVID, and pregnancy tests in the Reedley lab. Okay, so it's not clear at the moment if Solomon is also involved in the California operation. We don't know for sure. But law enforcement was able to confirm that the materials discovered in the home Solomon managed in Las Vegas are similar to those found in the warehouse in California. What is going on here? So let's get back to the gun charges. Why were they dropped? We don't really have much clarity on that, do we? It's weird because I feel like there have been some pretty high-profile cases lately, including that case of the Israeli government official, Tom Alexandrovich, who was caught in an FBI sting operation in Las Vegas, by the way, attempting to have sex with a 15-year-old girl. They allowed him to fly back to Israel, and if you've been following the court proceedings, they keep canceling his court appearances over and over again. What is that about? But getting back to these gun charges involving Solomon, The case against Solomon encountered a major curveball this month when the federal gun charges were suddenly out of nowhere and inexplicably dropped without prejudice. So according to the court filing, the decision to dismiss the charges came after a careful review of the evidence and additional information provided by the defendant. That's all we know. So was he in possession of illegal firearms or not? And why is this not a bigger story? When you have especially when it comes to the Trump administration, right? Like they never miss an opportunity to fearmonger about migrants. They've got, Shirley doing these videos on Somalis. Ooh, the Somalis. We should be so afraid of the Somalis, right? You got a dude like managing properties that have illegal biolabs. He's in possession of all these firearms illegally. Does Trump have anything to say about that? Anything at all? No? Okay. The state charges in Nevada regarding the improper disposal of hazardous material still stand. So he will be prosecuted for that as of now. We don't know that those could be dropped when we're not looking. But those charges still stand. Solomon, who's been out on bond since February, is due back in court on June 4th as the felony state charges for the improper disposal of hazardous materials still stand. The judge also ruled that he would have to surrender his passport and stay in the country until the case against him is adjudicated. And that's how this story differs from what happened with Tom Alexandrovich. That Israeli was able to fly back to Israel. He's in the comfort of a country that will protect him. They would never extradite him, even though our FBI caught him in a sting operation attempting to have sex with a 15-year-old. It was a decoy, but nonetheless, 15-year-old.
Let me tell you about someone we hired recently. Great on paper, sure, but what really sold me? They were genuinely interested in the role, asked smart questions. You could tell they actually wanted to work here. Their excitement made their resume stand out from all the others. If you're hiring, you want a candidate who's passionate about your role. But you can't get that insight from just a resume unless you post your job on ZipRecruiter. Now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/TYT. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds qualified candidates quickly. And ZipRecruiter has a new feature that shows you the most interested, qualified candidates first, so you meet the right people faster. Candidates can tell you in their own words why they're interested in your job. No wonder ZipRecruiter's the #1 rated hiring site. Find candidates who really want your job on ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/TYT. That's ziprecruiter.com/TYT. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
So our government, our judicial system, totally okay with letting that guy off, even though he was attempting to victimize a 15-year-old American girl. Okay, our government hates us. If that's not clear to you yet, it should be clear to you. And I'm not just talking about the federal government. Clearly, this is an issue that just can be seen in state representation, federal representation, municipal representation. It is insane. Now, Solomon would need the court's permission if he wanted to return to Israel or leave the confines of the continental United States. Something tells me that if he pushes hard enough, he'll probably get what he wants. Alexandrovich certainly did. Although Solomon is not an Israeli government official, so maybe he wouldn't, I don't know. But there is no direct evidence of special treatment. At the same time, honestly, it's hard to imagine an immigrant from, say, I don't know, Venezuela would have his federal charges of illegal gun possession dropped. So that double standard still exists, it's pretty clear. And Americans who actually follow stories like this want some answers. Because I'm not satisfied with the federal government's rationale for dropping the federal charges. Why? Like, you need more of an explanation than what we've seen here so far. So just going back to a story I covered earlier today involving a CNN panel discussion about AIPAC or the Israel lobby, and people who speak out against the Israel lobby, they just hate Jewish people. They're just anti-Semites. No, they speak out against it because more and more Americans are waking up to the fact that we don't just live in a two-tier justice system as it pertains to Israeli nationals and everyone else. We live in a country that features a government that is more interested in representing a foreign country as opposed to our country. That's a big problem. And unless this changes and improves for Americans, I don't know where this ends, honestly. Because more and more people are getting furious with this. I'm getting furious with this. And so if you have a government that doesn't feel accountable to you, I don't know, some people might wanna force them to be accountable to us. So if you don't want people rising up, if you don't want instability in the country, you don't want mass protests, you don't want rage and anger, you don't want people who live here, who are citizens of this country, to lose any and all faith in our institutions, how about you actually represent the American people? And that goes for the justice system, that goes for Congress, certainly goes for the White House, but don't hold your breath when it comes to the Trump administration. This is pathetic. 2 biolabs with incredibly dangerous pathogens. What are we doing?
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.